Welcome to Coffee Conversations with Les and Paul, 30 Minutes for God.
A podcast sponsored by Piedmont Road Church of Christ and Ministry League.
We're here to discuss Bible topics just as if we were asking Jesus himself. I am Paul Sperlin.
And I am Les Sandifer, and we hope you will enjoy our relaxed, Bible-based discussions.
Thanks for joining us as we think about and talk about all those things we'd ask Jesus over a cup of coffee. Welcome to the show, Les and Paul Show, Conversations, 30 Minutes for God. Appreciate you for listening as we do here each and every week. I was in a tunnel, folks, but Les just brought me out.
I'm playing with the volume.
We're good.
Did that help?
Not yet. Oh, yeah. It did in my ears. That's good. Good stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we do hope that you have your Bible open so we can invite Jesus to the coffee table. And you're drinking your coffee. I actually just finished mine, so hopefully we'll get through this okay. And you are ready to start this discussion as we're winding down on our very first season of the Les and Paul Show, the 30 Minutes for God Coffee Conversations. So keep that in mind.
Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing. By the way, if you see me, if you go to CYC in Pigeon Forge, look for me. I've got some stickers for you, some coffee combo stickers.
He's got all sorts of stickers.
You can't have too many stickers, especially with a coffee cup on them. So that'll be a nice little reminder with some cool little logos of our sponsors at the bottom, right and left.
Yes, that'll be awesome. And
those sponsors are Piedmont Road Church of Christ.
Oh, yeah, we should mention those.
Don't forget, lifeinchrist.com is the website for the church. A lot of resources there, Bible study helps and things like that. Do that. And also Ministry League, ministryleague.com. And also everything on social media is at Ministry League or at Piedmont Road Church of Christ.
Okay. Sorry, I was a little distracted by this soundboard. So
okay.
I'm back over. I'm in it now.
You're with us.
I'm in the zone.
That's good.
Or some kind of zone.
That's good. So this is episode number 48. We will have a total of 50 in this season. So we got a couple more left. But today we are going to talk about encouraging each other and edifying each other and what that means. What's the difference? Or is there a difference? But the key is, what is it? How do you do it? And when do you do it? When do you share these neat opportunities in ministry?
So what is it?
That's it. Well, we're talking about encouraging each other and edifying each other. So I think we start with this. I think the verse, if you take one verse, there's a lot more than one, but the one we like is in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 11. The very last verse of this section here of the passage here, where it says, "Therefore encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing." And so we are talking about basically the day of the Lord, ways to serve God and different things going on in our life, but it's also talking about how to encourage, how to make people, how to take them from point A to point B and make them, I mean, I guess you'd have to say make them feel better, make them feel good, but also put them in a position. It's a way to empower people, really.
Yeah.
You know, if encouragement takes a person from like a lay member to like a leader, you know, because it advances them in a situation. If someone comes to you and says, "You did a great job with that prayer. No, you really pray great prayers. Thank you for doing that." Or you lead a great song. You do a really good job. That's going to motivate that person to want to pray more or to lead another song, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what encouragement is. And encouragement isn't just about service. Encouragement is to, you know, if someone's hurting or sick, you encourage them. You do something to help them. And that's different than the edify part. The edify part is building up. So I think the building up, the leader part, it kind of goes with that. And the encourage part is to anybody in whatever situation they're in to make them feel a little bit better than they once did.
Where does the idea of constructive criticism fit into either one of those?
Ooh.
And that's a legit question, folks.
It is.
He did not know that question was coming.
That out of the air. We didn't even talk. We've talked about a lot of things today. That's not one of them.
Well,
But it's good.
It crossed my mind as I was thinking about encouraging and edifying, and
Yeah.
to the specific example you gave about encouraging somebody when they've done a prayer or whatever.
Right.
Is there? And I'm not really headed down a path.
Okay.
It really is just a thought-provoking question for me. Is there a aspect in the encouragement that includes, constructive criticism where it might apply, or is it a separate thing? And I don't really know the answer to that.
I don't know. Could it be both? Because constructive criticism is like in the song. Maybe you should pitch this a little higher, and that would be good.
And maybe
That's constructive criticism.
Maybe part of it's in the delivery.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know. I think about some of our young men as they're working through this process of learning to stand in front of a congregation and lead songs.
Right.
Really, I've tried to be a little bit more conscious of don't lead with the things that they can work on.
Mm-hmm.
Let them have the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, truthfully, I kind of feel like sometimes I'm not really great at that because I tend to say, hey, here's how we can grow in this.
Right.
But one of our young men who has been a little bit reserved in doing this business of leading in front of the group.
Yeah.
I said to him the last time he did it, I really intentionally just kind of wanted to leave it with, you really did a good job tonight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, it actually turned into some discussion about what can you work on.
Right.
But really, what's going into it was just, hey, man, you did a really, really good job. You stood up in front of the congregation, and let's not downplay how significant that is.
Right.
If you're not me and or Paul, and you just love standing in front of people and talking, it can be overwhelming.
Right.
And I felt like that was, kind of the case with him, but he did it.
Yeah.
He muscled through it. He's the kind of young man that he's kind of reserved anyway, so his nerves don't inherently show like some other people do. But he did. He really did do a good job of just going up there.
Well, and the fact is,
muscling through it.
The more you do it, the more, hopefully, the better you.
The repetitions make a difference. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if really when we're talking about trying to help somebody improve on something they're doing in their life.
Yeah.
And it's not just public speaking.
No.
That's the example we gave, but I don't know if.
Well, let me just
if the encourage is just standalone.
Yeah, we got
just encourage
a room full of ladies down here who get here on Tuesday and write cards and send cards to everybody.
Yeah,
I don't expect them to send me a card when I'm sick, but they do.
Yeah,
and I always feel better when it means they thought about me.
Yeah,
that's an area of encouragement. That's a ministry that they do. They do well, very well with it.
No, that's a good point.
So
well, maybe that's a great point because not everything where we're encouraging
is about public service.
In fact, most things we encourage when we're encouraging people doesn't have a component of constructive criticism even associated with it. Maybe in my mind, it was just the one specific example I gravitated to with encouragement had that component. Yeah. But this, you're right.
No, I sent you there, so that's okay.
The concept of encouragement really kind of does stand alone.
Yeah.
It is important to know that a kind word or encouraging word and even the edify build up goes a long way.
I'll tell you, it does. It really does. And encouragement and edification, building people up, comes in all shapes and sizes. And anybody has the opportunity to be able to, empower someone by doing that. And I use that because when I taught at Faulkner, taught Bible and youth ministry there, we spent our time trying to build these young men to become preachers, and to go places and to make them better than when they leave than when they got there. And the empowerment part is to give them the strength they need to be able to not only understand their worth, but also share that with others. Share the encouragement, share the building up. The only way the church is going to be strong is to build each other up, is to help the stones,
So what's the
so to speak.
What's the flip side of it?
Like discouragement?
Yeah, in a way, but I'm just thinking sometimes in evaluating, are you edifying somebody? Are you encouraging them? Is to think about maybe those moments in life where we've done something that creates the other path.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know that's a strange way to think of it, but I mean, in the end, we don't really want to. We don't want to be doing things in a way. Maybe this is in my mind. Maybe part of this is the criticism part, right?
Yeah,
because we think we're encouraging by giving some feedback to somebody,
right?
And when in fact we may have the opposite impact on them,
right?
But at the end of the day, that's when Paul talks about encourage one another and build one another up, just as you're doing. He's in the context in this particular part of the first letter to the Thessalonians. He's kind of helping them through a situation where they maybe didn't understand exactly how the end of time was going to work,
how to handle it.
Yeah. So they were thinking about some folks that had already died, and as they're working through this process, he's kind of explaining to them, hey, this is how it all works. But he leaves them with this idea of just keep doing what you're doing. Keep encouraging one another, keep building one another up. You're already doing this. He said it, and he says it again to them somewhere else.
Well, if you look down the last part of that chapter, though, that final instructions and benediction, I mean, he's basically saying, to respect those who labor among you and over the Lord, who admonish you. Admonishment isn't exactly encouragement. Admonishing is, if you're not doing what you should do, let me help you find the way to do it.
Great point.
Okay.
Yep.
But he continues there, but esteem them highly, very highly, is what the ESV says.
Yeah.
In love because of your work. Be at peace among yourselves. So the best way to create a harmonious atmosphere in your church, in your work, in your family, at your home, is to outdo one another in showing honor and encouraging and building each other up. I think that goes in every situation in life.
Well, and that kind of moves us in the direction of we're talking about the what.
Mm-hmm. That's the what.
Yeah. How do you go about doing it? I mean, he talks about here in this same context, after he talks about how we're supposed to interact with those who are over us in the Lord, our elders, and what they do, because, part of their job is they admonish us. But he goes on to talk about what we should be doing just in general. Mm-hmm. So admonish the idle. Right. So now it's gone from our shepherds admonish us to we have an obligation to do that same thing.
Yeah.
But then the positives, right? Encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with them all. So there's some of the hows in our work, our walk.
Absolutely.
Because there are times where we're faint-hearted, or
yeah,
some folks will run into they're struggling with their faith.
Right. Yeah. But he continues to say, help the weak, be patient with them all.
Yep.
Encourage. It literally says encourage the faint-hearted. Yep. So there's certain people that you see that maybe you almost can see a person and tell when they're not built up much. Right. And you almost want to say, what can I find to help this person?
Yeah.
And so I think that's something to consider in even that passage. And then he follows it up with not repaying any evil for evil.
What's faint-hearted? How would you define that?
Faint-hearted. I wouldn't say weak, meek. Not the strongest presence, but someone that you kind of, I hate saying muddles their way through life.
So Hebrews 12:12 says,
but needs encouragement.
Therefore lift your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees. So I'm wondering, I'm looking at this and I'm wondering if we got two different people listed, faint-hearted and help the weak.
Right.
I kind of see that, I really do kind of see that as somebody that's challenged physically and somebody that's challenged spiritually.
Yeah.
I may be wrong about that.
Did you reference Acts 20 just now?
No,
Okay.
it was Hebrews.
Okay.
What's Acts 20?
20 verse 35. In all things I've shown you that by working hard in this way, we must help the weak and remember the words of the Lord Jesus.
Okay.
How he himself said, it is more blessed to give than to receive.
Okay.
So I think faint-hearted comes in the category of not necessarily weak, like I can't lift a rock, but people that need that. They need that assurance that they're on the right track.
So,
You know,
is that cross-reference for the
it is.
help the weak?
Mm-hmm.
That almost ties into how I see in my mind I was seeing it as you've got two different people here. You may have somebody challenged physically, the faint-hearted,
Right.
the weak being the spiritual challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, whether I'm hitting that spot on or
Yeah.
not hitting it spot on, that's certainly part of our
Sounds good.
challenge is with being
Yeah.
an encouraging person is to identify, as you said, identify those people that you can
Right.
kind of see in them that they're struggling a little bit.
Right. I mean, even in verse 15, he even continues to say that I'm back in 1 Thessalonians 5.
Okay.
Seek to do good to one another and to everyone. So I think doing good means you are encouraging everyone.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good work.
Yeah. He starts that section, see that no one repays anyone evil for evil.
Right.
Almost as we lead into that to, always be thinking
Yeah.
the positive, the way you can see a positive in anything, whether that's somebody that isn't
Right.
doing the thing they
Well-
should be doing, but always seek to do good.
Yeah, what Paul tells Thessalonica, he's also telling Rome. Romans 12:9, let love be genuine, abhor what is evil, hold fast what is good.
Yeah.
So it kind of complements that very passage on that.
We've talked about it on the show. We talk about it a lot. We got one of our elders that says it all the time about love.
Mm-hmm.
And there is certainly an aspect here where you wrap in the idea of if you're going to be encouraging to somebody and you're going to edify them, you have to see them through a lens of the love you have for them.
Yeah.
As a Christian. It's a very, very important concept.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talk about, and when we set this up with the fragrance of Jesus, and we're talking about from 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14, we're really talking about how people see us.
Right.
And how we present ourselves to the world. And this idea of kind of thinking through, we're doing some alliteration here with these letters, but now we're in the E world.
Yeah.
And talking about encouraging and edifying. But I mean, in the end, it's all about growth, right?
Absolutely.
As individuals.
Oh, yeah.
And what we're going to do to be better folks.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the how, but let's give you some real hows. We mentioned earlier sending cards.
Yep.
We mentioned talking to somebody at church and just mentioned that, but we also mentioned at home. Regardless of where you are, say good things. If you're married, talk to your spouse and make sure to build them up. Put them on a pedestal. That they need that, regardless of your man, woman, whatever. You need to, man or woman. That's all it is. But
that's all we get.
That's all we got. So make sure that you boost them up, make them feel good.
Yeah, on the spouse front, really, it is about, and sometimes it's not. Encouragement isn't always the things you say to them. Sometimes it's the things you do.
Oh, good point.
Sometimes it's the things you don't say.
I like it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Paul and I have been talking about a particular book. I don't need to sell the guy's book for him, but in the concept of the book, really what you're learning to do is, because it's a book about couples and strengthening their relationships.
Right.
What you're really trying to do is understand you're different than her. Right. She's different than you. What are the things you can do? And from a Christian point of view, that should be our ultimate goal with our spouse, with our kids,
right?
Is to do things in a way that allow them to be stronger for God,
right?
And encouraging them. You're exactly right.
Another one is just shoot a text to somebody.
Oh,
they're not
that's
expecting
a great idea.
They're not expecting it. Wait a minute, you're texting me and said good job for this, or good job for that, or thank you for this, or thank you for that.
Or I'm thinking of you.
Or anything. Yeah, that's great. they're not expecting it, but a nice little text to somebody, I think, will really go a long way.
So we'll see if I get any feedback on this from somebody that does listen to our podcast. Occasionally, I'll get a text from. I don't want to be too specific. He'll know it as soon as I say it.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I'll get a text, and it's a random thought about something that we've talked about before.
Oh, yeah.
But it's something that goes on at work.
I get that, too.
Where we get talk, corporate speak,
where
they make a word that you would normally think of in a different way, and they apply it, and it becomes this whole new weird way of saying it in business. Or they just make up a word that we've never heard before. Okay. And it's so funny to me that actually it's a strange encouragement, but I love it when I get it because all of a sudden it's like the two of us are just having a moment together.
Right.
Kind of an unexpected moment, to your point about the text.
Right.
So I love it.
Yeah, and we get those occasionally. They'll say things about what happened in the show to tell us they've been listening, and that means a lot. So do that.
Yeah, and hopefully when they say it, we don't go, what?
Yeah.
So we don't remember.
We talked about what we're talking about, which is encouragement and edification. We talked about how to do it, and there's so many different ways. And so pick your poison, don't poison, but pick your way of encouraging.
Pick your perfume.
Pick your perfume. Oh, I like it. But when do we do this?
You see what I did there?
I did. That was very good. Very good.
Thanks.
But when is the best time to offer that encouragement? When is it? I mean, I think
it's a great question.
I mean, there are people who are hurting. There are people who are losing loved ones or dealing with an illness, or those are obvious times to offer encouragement.
Yep.
But what about, like we mentioned earlier in Christian service, when do you do it? There's not a bad time.
So maybe right? Part of the concept of when is, are we opportunistic? Are we looking for those opportunities to do it?
Take advantage of your time.
Like you said, some are just painfully obvious, but sometimes it's just really taking the moment to do it and looking for opportunities, creating those moments that maybe aren't obvious. And I think the text is one of those.
I think you're right.
That's a how, really, but it's a when do you send it?
Yep.
Like what crossed my mind was the sending of flowers.
Oh yeah.
To your spouse.
Yeah.
Not all spouses are built that way, but I mean, if your wife is a person that appreciates that, and it's just a random moment, it's great.
It is. It's good,
and we can do that with all of our Christian brethren, right?
Yeah, send flowers to everybody.
Send flowers. Well, yeah, I guess
that's a good idea, though.
I guess not specifically flowers, but I mean, just the unexpected moments where you get the encouragement, expected and unexpected. I mean, there are times where I'm just sitting here thinking that there are times where something happens in your life and you're like, nobody said anything. It's like nobody noticed,
right?
And you want to feel that encouragement.
Yeah, it's that notification that you matter and that it counts.
Yeah, it shores you up,
right,
so to speak.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
one piece of that too is, and this is very vain, but like on Facebook when it's your birthday and you wonder
vanity of all vanity,
exactly, is how many birthday attaboys do you get? You count them up. Now Facebook has started to compact those into one thing when there's so many.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's the algorithm. They don't want you to see everybody.
It just confuses me.
Yeah, it's weird. But
can you unpack it? Can you hit something and then go, okay, I want to see them all?
I feel like you can. Okay. I haven't figured that out yet, but I don't thrive on it. But you want to go back and say thank you to all of them, and there's a bunch. If you got a bunch of friends on Facebook, it's like this can take away your day. It's like that's not going to happen. So that's why you see all these thank you for all the birthday wishes, likes, and appreciates, and flowers, and text, and prayers, and one thing, and that way you don't have to hit every single post.
That's because Meta wants us to be focused on something else.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Stinking Meta.
Let our encouragement flow.
That's funny. Yeah. But it is.
I do find that funny though on Facebook because I mean, for some people it's a compulsion, right?
Yeah.
They see somebody's birthday pop up, they have to.
Oh, I do it.
I mean, I get birthday wishes from people that
I
went to high school with, and I can't even remember
hadn't
what
talked
they
to
look
you
like.
since then. Yeah.
If
That's
their picture
funny.
wasn't there on Facebook, I wouldn't even remember.
Well,
that's
and
not true.
And
but,
they wrap it up for you. You know, you'll have a post, and it'll say, "Do you want to say happy birthday, Joe? Do you want to say happy birthday with a balloon? Do you want to say happy birthday with a?" You know, it's like,
true.
how do I want to address this person?
Yeah.
So thanks for that, I guess. So I guess the laziness comes on both sides.
Well, and with this subject matter about birthdays on Facebook, maybe it's a good time to encourage you, the listener, to
shoot a text.
Yeah,
make a phone call.
Do some things that are super personal in encouraging other folks and trying to edify them, help their walk.
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily have to be, the cookie cutter. I've actually, to the Facebook thing, I've actually tried to go out sometimes and just look for funny pictures that I can attach to it instead of those images, same old things on Facebook.
Memes and stuff.
But yeah, bringing it back to our church work, it's really a strong part of who we should be.
It is.
And if we love one another, we're going to look for those opportunities to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to strive for it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it part of who we are.
Well, and you need to make it count because, as James tells us in James chapter 4, verse 14, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Mm.
What's your life?
It's a vapor.
It's here for a moment, and then it vanishes away. So, so when's the best time? When's not the best time?
Mm.
Let's go.
Yeah, when's not the best time?
That's it. For Les Sandifer, I'm Paul Sperlin. This has been Coffee Conversations with Les and Paul, 30 minutes for God. Thank you to Piedmont Road. Thank you to Ministry League. And thank you to you, our listener, for being here with us. We look forward to being with you next time over that next cup of coffee.